We're really fortunate today to have my Talmud teacher, Rabbi Emmanuel here. Rabbi Emmanuel has been exposed to Rabbi Steinzalts throughout many decades. And many times I think that Rabbi Steinzalts brought often a new and refreshing, if you will, or even sometimes more radical interest. And so let me turn it over to Rabbi Emmanuel, who has an even deeper insight of this wonderful fellow.
Thank you very much, Hazan Randall. I wanted to add to what you were saying, Daniel, is that you only touched one side of the name of Rabbi Ayeka-Steinzatls, and we say the salt of the earth. So his last name is actually kind of salt of the earth, but his first name is Adin, which is gentle. So combine the two together, you really have a glimpse of his real essence, his soul, his attitude, his demeanor, all together. And definitely one of that outcomes is making everything he's saying accessible to us, the layman, the lower echelons of people that we don't have this mind, this giant mind as he has. And I want to continue what you were talking about, the soul and the connections between the soul and God and how it goes. So again, exploring deeper, one of the chapters in the book of the 13 Petalled Rose, the search of oneself. And I call it Ayeka, where are you? The search of oneself actually starts very early in the very first breath we are taking upon our birth. It ends at the very last breath that we are exhaling just before passing on to the Olam Haba, to the world of eternal rest and being. It moves along the whole spectrum between being totally subconscious to the highest awareness, our dealing with this kind of question and this kind of pondering. We start with probing the limits of our possibilities, where we go, how we can move around. And it goes all the way to the transcendental questions of who am I? Where am I? Why I'm here? What I'm supposed to do? And all these kind of real heavy burdening, if you will, questions that we have. The answers to these questions that we ask ourselves may sometimes take a form of decisions or choosing paths. And as you said, it's all about choices that we choose to follow. And these choices eventually determine the way we live, and the way we live determine who we are. However, when you are trying to take this kind of question and break it down to practical, if you will, answers, okay, or questions that you try to answer, it's very confusing. It's confusing and kind of doesn't really reward, because it might reveal more questions and more hesitations that you don't have an answer for. So maybe sometimes this kind of ignorance is a bliss. I'm not sure, I don't think so, but you might fall into that kind of feeling. So even if you broke down this kind of meta question of who am I and why I'm here and so on into these smaller questions and try to address each of these questions in philosophical, psychological, scientific, any combination thereof ways, you might get to answers that would lead you decisions and your path in life. But even if you are taking and combining all these small answers together, it won't give you the answer to the very fundamental question: what is one's place in this world? In the search of the one soul. So probably the answers have to come from within one's own innermost being, so to say. And it is difficult to express it, because once you try to express it, you are using words, frame of references, symbols that actually limit the full description and the understanding of your solution. This is not new for us. I mean, we are looking at it as it is something that bothers us, but this question actually exists from the very, very, very beginning of the humanity, of the human being, of the Homo sapiens, if you want. And it is described in Genesis, in the beginning of Genesis. And it's amazing, Daniel, that you are bringing Genesis 2:7, this verse that is so profound that you use it, I use it, we used it even in connection with Tu B'Shvat, in a study that we did a couple of days ago. ויצר אדוני אלוהים את האדם עפר מן האדמה, ויפח באפיו נשמת חיים, ויהי האדם לנפש חיה. And the simple translation is that the Lord God formed man, human being, from the dust of the earth. He blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and the breath in capital B of life, capital L, if you will. And a man became a living being or a living soul, if you will. So the minute Adam was created, he was actually a fractal of the divine. He was good. We believe, we know that the Holy One, blessed be, is only good, even though we don't see it that well. Sometimes he is only good. So human being in its beginning of creation is good, has no doubt. Look, he is calling out the names of all the animals without any hesitation, and he does it right. On the other hand, Adam is incomplete. He doesn't know everything. He doesn't know the good or the differentiation between the bad and the evil and the good. But still, he's complete because he doesn't have any doubts. Without even answering the questions, he knows what he has to do. God tells him, you have to attend and to mend and to make sure that our world is striving, is in good place. On the other hand, Adam also is born and given the free will. And just as infants do, they push and try to find out where the boundaries are, so was Adam too. He was doing it. So when Adam eats from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of the good and the bad, a major transformation happens, just like this. ותפקחנה עיני שניהם וידעו כי עירומים הם. That's in Genesis 3:7. I must read it in Hebrew because the translation, any translation, really sucks. Excuse my French here. Then the eyes of both of them were opened and they perceived that they are naked. That's a true translation, but really misses a lot. The word is used for open their eyes, it's vatipakachna. The root of this word actually means much more. It means supervise, inspect, oversee, make clear, make clever, be sober, be in control, begin to understand, be wise, be shrewd, be smart, bright. It's not just opening the eyes, it's much more than that. Then the word perceived is a translation for vayed'u. Not good enough. I'd rather use the word know, knew, they knew. Knew, especially in a biblical meaning, is very, very deep, more than perception. Even the relationship we have with our spouses is on the basis of knowledge, of knowing, okay? So when you are putting it together, wait a second, eromim, they are naked. Not good enough, because it's not just naked. It's bare, shrewd, cunning, deceitful, crafty. So put all of this together, and the human being that was a fractal of the divine, that had no doubt whatsoever, all of a sudden has doubts, uncertainties, confusion, and as a result also vulnerability and fear. And then a voice comes out. Is it God's voice from the outside or God's internal voice from Adam's own soul, godly soul. Ayeka, where are you? And it provides later on the two bookends of our life. עד שובך אל האדמה, כי ממנה לוקחת, כי עפר אתה ואל עפר תשוב. Until you return to the ground, for from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. So we know the two bookends, and still the fundamental question is there. What happens in between? The mere existence of this question implies in both realms, the spatial and the temporal. Where from did I get to a place that I know what it is and where it is? Which direction will I go forward? And how will I move forward? And so on. And then there is also the question of the why. And interestingly, why in Hebrew has two different words for it. It's lama, what purpose, why, what is the purpose, and madua, what is the reason and what is the cause for things. It's not just a simple why, it's deeper than that. So as you continue the search, you eventually might come to a conclusion that it's not within you, it's something external to you, something which is your very, very original source, which is the breath of God, okay? The neshama that you were given by God and is belonging to God. And it so nicely is expressed in a verse in Psalm 73. Kala she'eri ulevavi, צור לבבי וחלקי אלוהים לעולם, which means my flesh and my heart failed, but God is the rock of my heart and my portion forever. And you wonder, the heart here and the heart there in the same verse is the same, and both Ibn Ezra and Radak, Rabbeinu David Kimchi, beg to differ. What they are saying is that the first heart of this verse is the nefesh, the life force that is being instilled on us in our body that keeps us alive, but it vanishes once we decease, when we die. The second heart, the tzur levavi, in the verse, is the soul, the neshama, that is eternal, and upon our death is returning to its origin, to the realm of the blessed be one into eternity. And just quoting Rabbi Steinzalts, as he finished this chapter, he was saying, for in truth, it is not one question with two sides. It's a meeting point of two questions. The one of a man asking himself, and the one that God is seeking man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Emmanuel.